Welcome to the Reality Revolution. I'm your host, Brian Scott. Today, I'm going to go over a wonderful lecture from Anthony Norvell. Anthony Norvell is the wonderful writer of several fantastic New Age, New Thought books. Not really New Thought because he came in the 60s. Check out my previous episodes. I have a couple episodes where I go over some of his lectures and writings. And he is glorious and fantastic. He was considered a world-famous psychic investigator according to his bio. And what I don't know about that, but he spoke to audiences in Carnegie Hall, and he talks about everything from meditation, but very unique teachings on the law of attraction. In this particular reading, I found a wonderful lecture on how to attain the 5 aspects of miracle healing. When people want to heal from a physical situation that may be different than an emotional healing, there are several different kinds of healing that can be provided, and each has its own unique aspects. And as we move towards service and have the opportunity to heal people, wouldn't it be great if we get better and better at it as we access this greater power that we are all accessing? So it's interesting to go back to some of the classic teachers that taught this stuff. It's timeless information. It's been there for us all this time, but we don't read or don't remember some of these classic teachings. He begins by saying the miracle healing power of divine mind extends to all realms of God's created universe. We see this metaphysical power at work in nature, where the animal kingdom has a wisdom and instinct that far surpasses the intelligence of the higher human kingdom. Only when man is able to tap the powers of divine intuition is he able to attain a flow of this metaphysical miracle working power. You will never see a horse or a cow smoking like a chimney stack. You cannot make them drink alcohol or other poisons. They seldom overstuff on rich foods and suffer from indigestion. They seem to know how to avoid most of the calamitous diseases that are the scourge of humanity, such as heart trouble, cancer, high blood pressure, ulcers, and diabetes. When an animal becomes sick, he seems to know how to heal himself. Most often, he will stop eating completely and let the miracle working forces within his own body heal him. Humanity is on a pill and miracle drug binge. Man takes pep pills to give him energy to face his day, then pills to slow him down at night so he can go to sleep. He must have his cocktails to stimulate his brain so he can finish the day without collapsing in a mad rush from one drug to another. Man begins to suffer from a gradual inability to let the natural healing forces of his mind and body take over and do the work for which they were intended to heal him when he is sick. Doctors know of this miracle healing power. Most enlightened doctors today work with the natural healing power of nature. They know of this miracle power that God placed within man's own mind and body cells. Often, doctors give shots of a distilled water to their patients, telling them it is morphine and that they will soon go to sleep. The patient begins to feel drowsy and in a short time falls asleep. While he sleeps, the natural miracle healing forces of the body take over and do the work of healing. It is true that scientists and drugs have done a wonderful work in this age to help in the healing forces of the body when the patient is too sick to help himself. We have not evolved far enough as yet to dispense with doctors and drugs. In the future, however, Doctors will become more valuable to society in the preventative arts. To prevent sickness is more important than to heal it. It is also important to remember that in cases of accident, such as a broken leg or arm, there must be skillful handling of the injury if nature is to perform its healing perfectly. Doctors can assist this miracle power within the human mind and body, and in the new branch of psychosomatic medicine which has arisen in the past 25 years. It is widely recognized that the human mind can make man sick in many cases, and that it can also serve as the agency for healing of many conditions. The 5 aspects of miracle healing. Let us now examine the 5 aspects of miracle healing that you may utilize in your own life. You must first realize that healing does not apply only to a sick body. It also applies to other departments of your life. We shall study the 5 most important areas of human experience and learn how to release the miracle healing power of divine mind to these various departments of your life. The same laws and principles which pertain to these 5 aspects of miracle healing may also be applied to any other negative conditions you want to heal in your own life. These aspects are as follows. 1. Healing of the physical body. 2. Healing of personality disorders. 3. Healing of the environment. 4. Healing of romantic and marital problems. 5. Healing of economic and financial conditions. When we realize that there are more than 25 million people in the United States who are sick, blind, or otherwise handicapped, we must realize that we are truly a sick nation. Also consider the fact that only 1 young man out of 5 is considered fit to be taken into Army service through selective service. Then consider the millions who suffer from minor forms of incapacity, impaired vision, poor hearing, and handicaps produced by arthritis, rheumatism, and kindred ailments, asthma, allergies, sinus conditions. These afflict millions more. America truly needs a renaissance of the miracle working power used by the Master Jesus, who was able to perform his miracles of healing because he understood this tremendous spiritual power that God has placed within man's consciousness. Following is your unfailing guide for programs of healing in all 5 aspects. 1. Healing of the physical body. Before we consider miracle healing of the physical body, let us learn the causes of sickness so that we shall better understand the nature of man's illness. The invasion of the bloodstream by germs is one of the principal causes of sickness. If the body's energies and resistance is low, this type of germ infection seems to be more likely than if the body's resistance is high. Then the body's natural germ fighting mechanism, the phagocytes in the bloodstream and the white cells, seem to keep the invading bacteria at a minimum. Physical accidents also contribute to man's disability. Many of these accidents are of psychosomatic origin, as we shall learn, and could be avoided. Psychosomatic factors contribute to many of the world's illnesses. Many doctors are of the opinion that nearly 85% of sickness can be traced to psychic disorders. That is, emotional disturbances that involve the psyche. In a study of industrial accidents, it was found that 95% of all accidents could be traced to only 10% of the workers. In other words, this 10% of the workers who had most of the accidents had personal and marital problems, fears, and worries that produced tension and made them careless in their work. It was further discovered that the same 10% of the workers accounted for the case of absenteeism due to colds and other pulmonary infections. Miracle healing regime for sickness. 1. Put your mind into a state of faith and confidence that the miracle healing power of divine mind can affect a healing whatever condition afflicts you. 2. Remove the factors that might be causing you sickness. You may be suffering from some form of emotional paralysis, which keeps your body from performing its healing function. Resentful of something that rankles in your subconscious? Did something happen in love or marriage which made you bitter? A woman who suffered from asthma and sinus trouble for years was discovered to have regretted marrying the man she did. She was in love with another man, and when she lost him, she married the first man who asked her. This regret and resentment, living a lie for 20 years, made her body develop the conditions from which she suffered. After being counseled and shown the error in her ways, this woman had a miracle healing of her asthma and sinus conditions and adjusted her marriage with good results. Many cases of allergies, skin trouble, sinus, and pulmonary conditions have been traced by doctors to psychosomatic factors. When the person has rid his mind of the hate, resentment, jealousy, fear, worry, or other negative emotion, the condition disappeared from the body. A positive thought atmosphere important. Maintain a positive thought atmosphere at all times. The old saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, aptly applies to sickness. You can prevent the eroding forces that lower the body's resistance from taking hold on your mind and body. If you can keep the positive thought in consciousness that you are surrounded by the loving arms of God and that nothing can harm you, soon you will see a change in your mental and physical condition. Whenever you have a tendency to say, I feel terrible, change it to I feel great. Soon you will really feel great at all times. Too many people recount the long list of their ailments and operations and build the thought atmosphere of sickness. Do not spend your time in looking for physical symptoms of sickness. Too many people listen to their heart's beat or try to interfere with the functioning of their stomachs or other body organs. God sealed all the human organs into your body with the healing agency within your body cells. These organs are supposed to work perfectly without any interference from outside sources. In most cases of extreme emergency where operations must be performed, there have been contributing factors to the organ's breakdown. How many gallbladders have been removed because of the person's wrong eating habits? Observe basic dietary laws. Regulate your food and liquid intake with an eye to balance and dietary laws. Get a good book on the subject of diet and health and maintain the correct intake of foods, and your body will nourish itself and keep itself at a high level of performance. It has been found by scientists that the human body needs meat proteins at this stage of our evolution. Many people live on vegetable diets, and the Chinese and Indians live on handfuls of rice, but it cannot be said that they live well or long. The body needs meat, vegetables, fruit, and certain minerals and vitamins. It is good to study nutrition from books written by experts so that you will maintain good dietary habits and enjoy health in a ripe old age. 2. Healing of personality disorders. Personality disorders are of many different types. They range from self-consciousness and inferiority to disorientation and maladjustment. A sick mind can be as real and distressing as a sick body. Many people who suffer from personality disorders do not need psychiatric help. They can often help themselves if they know the causes of their condition. Following are the most frequent causes of personality maladjustment: fear of failure, frustration in love and marriage, unhappiness in choices of work, resentment, jealousy, and other negative emotions, discord and friction at home or in business, feelings of inferiority and inadequacy, sexual suppression and lack of fulfillment, unresolved worries and fears, insecurity in early childhood. The miracle healing regime for personality disorders. When you have discovered the cause or causes for your own particular type of personality disorder, set to work first to rid yourself of the cause of your condition. You should practice daily to adopt a positive course of action in handling the problem. If it is fear of failure, build your confidence by adopting the attitude that everyone has some failure in his life. Then pick little things that you can do successfully and achieve these. When you once build the mental habit of success, you will banish the fear of failure. Check back over your life every night before you go to sleep and analyze the negative or distressing emotional experiences that afflicted you in your early life. Very often, these early childhood experiences cast a pall over a person's entire adult, mental, and emotional life, causing symptoms that vary from stuttering to fear of speaking before an audience. Stuttering overcome through metaphysics. A young man who came to our classes in Carnegie Hall was afflicted with stammering and stuttering. In talking to him, in a period of consultation, I discovered that he had been beaten by a foster mother when he was a child. When he had unburdened himself by telling me all about these distressing conditions of his early youth, I told him that he was now an adult, that his childhood was behind him, and that he must try to understand and forgive the foster parent for her mistakes. I gave this young man a series of positive affirmations, which he was to repeat every night upon retiring. When he faithfully followed the regime for 3 months, he had reached a point where he only stuttered when he became excited. It is only a question of time before he is fully healed of his personality disorder. When you discover the particular emotional block that causes your personality disorder, rationalize it. That is, reason it out with yourself and then give yourself positive suggestions that will help overcome this condition. The following is a good suggestion for general use. I now understand the reasons for my personal problems. I now appeal to the divine mind within to take over all these personality problems and to dissolve them completely. I have faith in the miracle working power of my higher mind. I am confident, peaceful, poised, loving, and joyous. My body operates under the power of my higher mind. It is now healthy, vital, and strong. I rest in the loving arms of God, secure and serene, and sleep peacefully knowing I am refreshed, restored, reinvigorated, and rejuvenated while I sleep. How hatred and resentment cause sickness. If you have any hatred or resentment within your mind for any person or any condition, try to change it to love and forgiveness and understanding. Most negative emotions create sickness. The personality can become warped through greed, selfishness, worry, fear, or hatred. Many times these negative emotions will give the symptoms of high blood pressure, heart disease, ulcers, and other physical ailments. A man who hated his business partner developed a very bad case of ulcers. He was advised to have an operation, but he was afraid, so he went to a psychosomatic doctor. When the doctor discovered he hated his business partner, he told the patient to get out of the business as quickly as possible. The man followed his advice, and within 3 months' time, he was completely healed of all traces of his ulcers. Change the emotion of hate to love whenever you have any mental or physical symptoms that cause distress. Love is a healing emotion. 3. Healing of the environment. What are the principal causes of environmental discord? Friction and disharmony often create misunderstandings. We do not like certain things people do, or they become antagonistic to us for any one of a dozen reasons. We may work in an office where there is jealousy, resentment, and envy, or it may be that the work one does is not to his liking and he resents it. Again, a person may feel he is inadequately paid, and this causes him to chafe against his employer and his working environment. Whatever the causes of your environmental discontent, there is a regime which can bring about a miraculous healing of negative conditions. The miracle healing regime for wrong environment. 1. Imprint upon your consciousness the positive thought that you will rise above any and all negative conditions which exist in your environment. If you cannot change your work or location of your home, try treating the negative conditions metaphysically. See the people you are forced to work with or live with as being created in the image and likeness of God spiritually. Try to send out loving thoughts to them. 2. Negatively adapt to any condition you cannot overcome. For instance, you may have to stay in your present place of employment because you have put in too many years to make a change now, or you may be in line for a promotion or pension. Negative adaptation means simply that you will live with the condition until such time as you can more easily change it. How one girl found romantic happiness. A girl who came to my lectures told me she disliked her office job. The other girls seemed to be malicious and gossiped about her constantly. She had a bad breaking out on her face that further added to her embarrassment and feelings of inadequacy. Boys didn't ask her out on dates, and she was already 24 and was afraid she would become an old maid. What should she do? She couldn't quit her job because her widowed mother and small brother depended on her income. I told her that most of the trouble was within her own consciousness. I urged her to negatively adapt to the situation for a while until she could take positive steps to change the conditions which caused her such distress. Her approach to life was all wrong. She began using the metaphysical principle of love and understanding. She developed a sense of humor, and when the girls made cutting remarks, she learned to turn them into a joke. Soon, the other girls were laughing with her, not at her. She was less aloof in her attitude towards her working companions. After 3 weeks of this metaphysical treatment, a man she had long admired in another department of the firm asked her for a date. He fell in love with her, and they were married. I attended her wedding. She looked radiantly beautiful. Her skin had cleared up, and she was poised and well-adjusted. She is now the mother of 2 children and has found the happiness she always desired. 4. Healing romantic and marital problems. One of the most common areas of difficulties that affects human relationships is that dealing with romance and marriage. At some time or other, every person has some such problem which disturbs his tranquility and happiness. Metaphysical miracle power can be released to heal such a problem. First, let us examine these problems in the light of reason and find out the causes of most romantic and marital problems. Mismating often brings two people together who have no reason for marrying. What should they do in such a situation? Divorce or live together with friction, misunderstanding, and subsequent chaos it produces for their children. Then there's the problem of philandering, indulged in by one or both of the marriage partners. This leads to jealousy, accusations, and sometimes violence. Often, two people will suffer from sexual maladjustments, frigidity on the part of the wife, or impotence on the part of the husband. Such a problem can make a marriage miserable and must be handled delicately if the marriage is to survive. Then there is the problem of quarreling, nagging, friction, and general bad temper. This type of negative atmosphere can destroy a marriage and cause the parties concerned to suffer from feelings of guilt and misery. The miracle healing regime for romantic problems. 1. Realize that no marriage is perfect. Each person must bring to the union vast patience, love, and understanding. When problems of any kind arise, both parties should sit down and frankly discuss them and try to think out a solution that is equitable and just. Try to rise above the petty level of human thinking into the realm of divine love, where each sees the other as encompassing the spiritual qualities of the soul that can make a marriage a blessing instead of a curse. 2. If two people have married who have little in common other than physical attraction, they can still make the marriage a success. Unity can come in such a union by building interests in common. The parties concerned should make an effort to cultivate the same friends, the same interests, read the same books, see movies, and other entertainment together, thus giving them a frame of reference for the future which encompasses similar experiences. 3. The problem of philandering often arises after 4 or 5 years of marriage. One of the marriage partners may grow tired of the other. When these extramarital relations come to the intention of the marriage partner, it often leads to bitter recriminations and finally divorce. How can such a breach be healed in metaphysics? Let each partner in the marriage realize that to err is human, to forgive divine. Try to be understanding of the other's weakness. Then try to work out a basis for future understanding and harmony in love and sexual relations that gives satisfaction to both parties. Infidelity led to this woman's crippling. An instance where infidelity led to crippling condition of the wife came to my attention some time ago. The wife found out her husband had been going around with another woman, his secretary. She developed paralysis of her limbs and became a chronic invalid. Of course, the affliction was a psychosomatic one in which the woman's subconscious mind wanted to be crippled so she could punish her husband by making him wait on her. It immobilized her so she could no longer give him the comforts in the home he had grown so accustomed to. Upon examination by many doctors, it was found there was nothing physically wrong with this woman. One doctor who had studied psychosomatic medicine finally arrived at a solution. He told the husband to leave the wife in an upstairs bedroom. He advised him to have parties 2 or 3 times a week down in the living room and not to have the wife down. After the first big party, the wife could no longer stand the agony of knowing everyone downstairs was having such a good time without her. On the night of the second party, the husband heard a shuffling sound from the upstairs bedroom. Soon he saw his wife's head protruding between the banisters of the stairs, trying to see who his guests were. Within a few weeks' time, this woman had a complete healing. The higher centers of her mind, galvanized by curiosity and desire to participate in the merrymaking, had effected a cure where doctors had failed. If sexual maladjustment should arise owing to any one of a dozen different reasons, the metaphysical approach to the problem should be as follows. First, try to discover what the trouble is, how it had its inception, and if necessary, probe back to the early childhood of the mate to see if conditioning occurred in childhood that might have caused the difficulty. The mate should show more tenderness and solicitude in lovemaking. For very often, a woman who becomes frigid in the love act has been shocked in some way or repelled by some early experience that actually makes her hate and fear the sexual act. In such instances, the husband should show consideration and understanding and try to adjust his needs to the wife's existing limitations. Sexual frigidity overcome through metaphysics. A woman came to me for consultation once who had the problem of sexual frigidity. In the interview, she told me frankly that she had been molested when she was 10 years old by an uncle, and the sexual act had revolted her ever since that time. She had thought marriage would change the situation and that her love for her husband would help her overcome it. I gave this woman a constructive analysis of her entire problem and explained that her higher mind would be able to rationalize this problem and help her overcome it. Now that she knew the reason for her frigidity, her subconscious mind would begin to release her from the torture she had endured. In a few weeks' time, she reported to me that her new understanding of her problem, she was beginning to enjoy the sexual act for the first time since she married. 5. Healing of economic and financial conditions. Elsewhere in our study, we have given metaphysical laws for demonstrating money, jobs, and anything else that one desires. If these sections of our study are thoroughly absorbed, there should be no future economic and financial problems. However, if such problems should continue to exist, there is a regime for helping to heal the sick economy. Regime for healing economic and financial conditions. 1. Try to find the cause of your financial problems. There are several causes to financial limitation. They are A. Lack of preparation for suitable work. B. Lack of goal towards which to work. C. The wrong master motive for achievement. And D. Waste, extravagance, or laziness. If the cause of your financial limitations happen to be A, then prepare your mind for future work by taking a course in evening high school or in a trade school to help prepare for you another vocation. If B is the cause of your financial problems, try to have a definite goal towards which you are striving, to own your own home, to educate your children, to travel, etc. If C is the cause of your economic limitations, try to have a high master motive to spur you on. Some good master motives are a desire to help your family, a desire to give something to the world to make it a better place in which to live, a desire to improve your intellect and acquire greater knowledge, a love of humanity and a love of God. If you suffer from cause D and are wasteful of money or time, you must begin at once to change the habit patterns of your daily life through the regime given elsewhere in our study. If you are suffering from mental and physical inertia known as laziness, you must make a supreme effort to shake yourself out of your lethargy by visualizing the rewards and achievements possible for you in the future. 2. Work with the divine mind within and ask it to guide you in finding solutions to your financial problems. In meditation, ask specific questions. How can I make more money? Where can I get a better job? What vocation should I study for? Then wait for the answer to come to you from your higher mind. 3. Look about you in your own environment and see how you can improve some product or evolve a new method for doing your work. Examine the possibilities for going into business for yourself, since you can seldom make a fortune working for someone else. 4. Write letters to important people who might be able to help you better your position. Many times, if you write to some wealthy person who has a business and show you have originality and a creative mind, you will be given an interview for future employment. So to summarize, I really enjoy this lecture. It really summarizes the different kinds of healing that are required and the mindsets that are required in healing. He mentions the miracle healing power in nature. divine instinct and how it works in the animal kingdom. He mentions the 5 aspects of miracle healing for all types of healing, set out in detail, and I really appreciated that. And how we may work with miracle forces of nature, emphasizing the importance of nature naturally healing itself. He goes over the causes of physical sickness and the psychosomatic factors that contribute to illness. Check out my episode on hacking your emotions. There is so much great work out there that talk about how you can get sick from your emotions by holding your emotions in. It's a rampant problem in this country, and I think we can stop it as we get to a greater understanding that this may be the cause of the majority of our sickness, and it can certainly make it a lot easier for you to get sick if you let these things affect you. He goes over the law of negative adaptation to help overcome environmental problems, and I like that. You may be in a job that you want to quit, and that quitting would be disastrous to your goal. Sometimes you have to stick it out. You're in a situation that you don't want to be in, so that's the law of negative adaptation. Make it your intention to change. Go about the script, but start focusing on your intention to change, and you can change it. I enjoy his discussion of the causes of different marital problems. A lot of it sounds cliche, but there's a reason that it's cliche. And it's a 1969 viewing of these kind of problems. Perhaps a little bit misogynist in some cases, but very interesting. And especially when he talks about romantic and marital problems, because a lot of times what he's saying is absolutely true. He mentions sexual maladjustment can be overcome with higher mind metaphysics, and it can. And going over healing of economic and financial conditions and the causes for the lack of money. It's pretty amazing, the power of the mind, and some of these authors had a succinct ability to really outline how to use the mind to overcome tremendous situations. And Anthony Norvell was very good at that. What is it that you need to heal? Is it your body? Is it your job? Is it the environment that you're in? Is it economically? How can I heal you? I am sending out a universal energy of healing to anybody that hears my voice right now. Deeply embedded in the codes of my voice is a healing code that when you sleep tonight, you're going to wake up totally healed from whatever it is. I empower you, for you are all powerful and you are God. And you know that you can heal this. Any sickness that you have is an agreement of yourself to be sick. All you have to do is change on the agreement that you have with your reality. How do you heal? There are so many cool ways to heal. Check out my episode on ESP and healing by Dr. Joseph Murphy, where he discusses that. That is another fascinating discussion of how to heal long distance and close. Let me know if you want me to read some more Anthony Norvell. There's a few more out there. Some of them go a little crazy when he starts talking about pyramid astrology. So we will see what else we can read. There is some wonderful books of his, and I have so much more cool stuff coming in the near future. I just can't wait. I wish I could release multiple episodes a day. But in any case, I love you all so much, and I'm so excited to do this again incredibly soon. All episodes of The Reality Revolution can be found at therealityrevolution.com. And welcome to the Reality Revolution.